Hello wonderful people, welcome to my channel. This is Maria of Maria Nice Designs. Here I'm showing you the Trinity Stamps Coffee Cozy Die Set. That's the cozy part and that's the edges, the trim around the top and bottom of the cozy. Here I have pre-cut each of the dies out, and I am going to add the heart and flower with the little leaves onto this cozy. I'm just showing you that I'm adding some, it's basically ribbon that I'm going to place the trim between the cozy itself and the ribbon so that I can see the holes from behind the cozy. And I'm just going to use 3-in-1 glue here to attach the trim as well as adding the ribbon. And the ribbon I got as a thank you from Ellen Hudson. When you order from ellenhudson.com, she sends you a little thank you card in a plastic bag with some ribbon rolled up in it, which is very lovely. I tend to be able to use that from time to time, and this is the perfect way to use it. Here, again, I'm adding the ribbon on top of the trim. And this is basically just to keep everything adhered together so that while I am stitching, nothing moves around. And I take care to avoid the holes so that I can come up through and not encounter any glue. This is the heart with the flowers, and there's 3 layers to the little flower. As you can see there, there's the back part, there's the center, and then there's a little tiny piece in the middle there. And I'm just showing you the Benzie designs.com. I had gotten all these wonderful things from. I had gotten all of the DMC threads as well as the felt. And I am just showing you that I am applying the little flowers, and I'm going to add a little bit of the 3-in-1 glue to also hold that in place so it doesn't spin around, or it actually keeps it from getting extra fuzzy, because I know sometimes the wool felt does get a little bit of fuzz when you put thread through it, and it just kind of keeps the center from getting fuzz up through the middle. And the metallic thread is beautiful, and it is a bit of a challenge simply because it does cause friction because it is metallic. So just take your time with it, and you'll do fine. There I'm just adding the center, and very carefully so I don't pinch my hand or my finger. Again, I'm just going to put another little dab of glue. Here we go. Little dab will do ya. I'm just going to add it on, and I bring the flower towards the piece instead of the piece towards the flower, because that way the glue doesn't get spread onto the thread. There I'm doing a little knot, which is called a French knot, for the center, and it holds everything in place. Here I got a little bit of a tangle. When I went to attach the flower, the thread that is the shorter piece when you thread needle kind of got stuck and I'm fighting with it, and I'm just carefully pulling the one end through. There we go. Ta-da! There we go. It worked. So now I'm just going to put a stitch into the back to hold the flower on, and I'm just going to come up. It's a pretty thick wool felt, and it does have a coating on the front that has all that glitter attached to it, and it doesn't come off. It's really nice. So here I just put a little knot through. I made a loop in the back as I pulled through the thread, and now I just keep a couple inches of length so that I can tie a square knot. So I just basically go in one side. There we go. And then I come through the other side and do it on the other side. So I just kind of crisscross it and make a nice little knot to ensure that it stays in place. And I do add some glue into the back later on, and I do just kind of give it extra support, like I said, to keep everything in place. I do add the 3-in-1 glue. Here I'm applying these pretty little leaves, which will be stitched on as well. Here I put in a stitch, and I'm showing you that the back part I'm going to encase into the back to keep it from coming loose. And the thread does have, it has many little threads that make up the total. I'm not sure how many threads are in this because it's solid initially, and then I guess from friction it must kind of separate. And I'm just holding everything down. Like I said, I will encase those threads into the back. Just keeping an alignment of the leaves. I wanted to utilize the holes that are also cut out in the heart to come up through to attach the leaves. So that's what I'm doing here to keep it all in place and to make it look neat. So here you go. I'm just showing you that I'm moving around the back threads. And it's about approximately an inch of length in the back that I keep, that I encase, that I keep in the back once I pull it through initially. So here I'm going back through the holes in both the heart and the leaf, like I said, to make it look neat and tidy. There we go, just getting it all in there. Like I said, it takes a little bit of work, and my fingers don't always listen to my brain. So, and there's a little bit of, I guess, friction because it is a metal thread and it does curl. So I was having a little bit of issue with the curling of the ribbon. But, you know, it worked out. It was fine. It wasn't too big of a struggle. I was able to handle it. So I'm coming down through one of the holes in the heart. She said, there we go. And you don't have to use the same length of thread as I do. I just like to use a lot of thread because I don't like to rethread the needle often. So I just deal with the length of the thread and just take my time. Here this is sped up, so I obviously don't sew that quickly. Okay, so that's the last little bit of the threads. I'm going to put some of the 3-in-1 glue all along the threads in the back to keep them in place and to keep them from coming loose. And I do avoid the holes, the stitching holes, so that you don't get any gunk and glue and get, you know, the needle doesn't get any glue on it as well. I'm attaching the second little leaf here. It's so adorable. I just thought this came out so cute. I am using the Tailored Expressions wool felt in the colored felt. The Benzie Designs is the glittered felt, which is very thick. It's lush and beautiful. I mean, all of their felt is. The Trinity Stamps does have felt on the benziedesigns.com website, along with the DMC threads that match. So I did get several of those as well. So I'm going to be making quite a bit of these cozies. But for now, I'm just showing you what I had in hand while I wait for that order to come in. So I just thought, well, I wanted to make a little gift, and I just thought this was a perfect thing for the coffee drinkers. You can add a gift card to a local coffee shop or Starbucks or what have you. Here I'm just showing you that I'm going to add the two pieces in the back together so that it makes the center available, and that way I can center the heart into the front of the cozy. And I'm taking a stitch through, and I'm holding it with my right hand since I'm left-handed. That's what I do. And I'm adding more of the 3-in-1 glue into the center part and to the sides of each side of the heart there, just to keep it tacked down so it doesn't move around while I stitch. So there you go. Pull that through. And now I'm just going to go all the way around the heart and just going to show you just stitching all the way through. Again, it's kind of a struggle at first until you kind of get a rhythm going. And as you get your rhythm going, you know, you pull the needle through, you go down, you go up, you go down. And that's, you know, it just takes some time and some patience. Here I'm showing you Thread Heaven, which is a thread conditioner and a protectant for the thread. I do use it on the colored DMC threads, but not so much on the metallic because it just remains on it. I don't know how else to describe it. I tried a little bit and it just kind of leaves a coat of thickness on it. So I just use it on the colored thread, the cotton thread. And as you can see, I pull it through the entire length of thread that I use. And that's the starting stitch there in the corner. And I guess I leave about an inch of thread in the back. And then I am going to do a back stitch. So I go to the very next stitch to begin, to start it. So here we go, just kind of, it's a little bit of a challenge again because I don't have holes in the front where the ribbon is, since I covered them to keep it decorated and looking pretty. I just decided, oh, the ribbon will look really nice on there. Let me encase the trim in between the ribbon and the back of the cozy so I can see the holes coming through. However, I cannot see the holes coming back up. So it's a little bit of finagling, but it worked out. And again, I'm just going to, once I go up through and back down to the next hole, I do skip, oh, here I'm just showing you that I encase the length of thread in the loop once I go through. And I did skip one of the holes on the third pass through, and then I go back through the last hole, and that is a back stitch. And that's what we are going to be using all the way around. Now I connect the back stitches, I guess you would call it maybe a running stitch instead, because I skip the hole. Now I'm showing you I'm encasing the thread again, and I will be doing this the entire way until it's encased. And now I go back into the last stitch, and I have to move the piece around, the cozy around, so I can see what I'm doing. And here I'm just going right back into the last stitch to connect the stitches. Again, I have a lot of length in my thread, and now we skip the next hole and come up, and we just do that all the way through on both sides. I'm just going to show you just a couple more stitches here. Hopefully I'm not boring you. Hopefully you're learning something and you're enjoying the learning aspect of this. Like I said, you can speed past, you can move to the next section. You don't have to watch the entirety of the video. You can even speed it up while you're listening to music. It's up to you. And I'm just going to show you, I think, a few more stitches. I guess I didn't want to leave you in the lurch with just like 3 little stitches. And here I'm applying a little dab of glue, and this is just to encase the very end of the thread in the back, keep it nice and neat. Okay, so now I'm just showing you that I came up to the last stitch, and in the back of the cozy I am going in and out of the stitches, and I'm going through the loop, the last loop, twice, and I hold the little knot down with my finger and pull the thread through. Again, I leave a couple inches. I separate the thread and I do a square knot to ensure that it stays in place and none of the threads come loose. So there you go. And I will definitely be adding a little bit of glue after I trim off the long pieces there. I'm going to add a little bit of glue. There we go. The Beacon 3-in-1 is really great. It's great with paper, it's great with fabric, it's very useful. But again, it does leave a little bit of webbing, so when it's something that's super fine, I tend to not use it with that. But you could, I mean, as long as you're careful. That is the edging piece that puts in the holes to attach the two ends together. I'll run that through my machine, my die cutting machine. And I'm just going to use a tape to pull the little extra excess pieces of the felt out of the holes. Here I'm showing you that I cross stitched the back kind of like a little corset, made the little cross stitches in the back to attach it together. And there's the cozy. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, like, and share my videos, and hit the bell icon for future uploads. Stay well and be blessed, everyone. Take care. Bye.